Welcome to Wiki Wiki What, a random knowledge podcast where you'll probably learn something whether you like it or not. My name is Chris.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Jake. We totally just blew the script.
We didn't blow any script. Just go. Just keep going. No,
I get
you know
to
what?
be Chris this time.
No, I'll do that. I'll do this part. Okay.
You do it.
Okay.
I am Dana, as I said earlier, and in this show, we basically go to Wikipedia and we grab some articles that we want to learn about, we think are funny, and we get together and we tell some jokes. We don't tell each other what we're researching,
Secrets.
and usually it works out.
All right. So we are going through our shows alphabetically.
Mm-hmm.
This is the K episode, and what we'll do is we will give a little teaser about our articles, and then sort of pick which ones we think should go first. And I think Dana, you should go first.
Nice.
on teasing.
Okay, so I've got a question. Chris, my man, you only got like 6 days of pre-pro for this episode. You got any surprises?
No,
in store,
100% no. Unless I'm
Are you
doing
going
it.
to-
Unless I'm doing it live to the tube.
Are you
Nothing's-
going
Nothing's
to?
pre-recorded.
How do the kids say it? Are you going to be on both the ones and the twos tonight?
Well, I'm going to be mixing it up to the max. The max.
Wait, do people say that?
Yeah, that's a thing that's a DJ thing though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spinning the ones and
Turntables,
twos.
baby.
Yeah.
Turntables, baby.
Okay, let's actually like do the thing that we came
Yeah.
here to do.
You were nominated first. Give it.
Okay. The thing that I want to teach you guys about. All right, so the hint I've got is it's the most badass name for a defense mechanism ever.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going second?
All right, I'll go. My clue is give him the razor, sell him the blade.
Oh.
Okay. That's terrifying.
This
My hint is every kiss begins with K.
Okay.
So yeah. What are you guys
was
thinking? I'm
that was
interested
very
in Jake's.
beautiful. Yeah, I'm digging it. I mean, usually his hints suck, so like
Yeah.
when it gets interesting, I'm into it.
All right. Am I going?
Yes,
do
yes,
it. I'm-
yes, my
I'm hip to
man.
it.
All right. So I have chosen this week to talk about a man named King Camp Gillette.
Okay.
That's what a
He
name.
is not.
Is
He
camp
is not a
spelled with
king.
K?
No.
Okay.
His name is King, though. He's not a king. His name is King.
Oh, that's a
Oh.
name.
It's not a title. All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm
So,
totally into it.
King Camp Gillette, born 1855 and died 1932, was an American businessman who invented a best-selling version of the safety razor,
Okay.
Okay.
Gillette razors.
There it is.
Can I just say before we begin that the name safety razor I feel is somewhat of an oxymoron because I don't think I've ever seen a more terrifying instrument in my life.
I shave
Well-
with a safety razor, and I can say that you're pretty good as long as you're going in straight lines. You're not going to just like shave off some of your skin, but if you have any lateral movement whatsoever, oh, you're getting it, baby.
It's very unsafe, you would say.
Yes.
It's like a sword.
An unsafety razor.
It is exactly like a sword.
So, safety razors are shaving implements with a protective device positioned between the edge of the blade and the skin, which were made as a response to the straight razor, which is what people were using before, like that movie with Johnny Depp where he was like killing people.
You're talking about Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, he's the demon
Yeah.
barber of Fleet Street, and his arm is complete.
Right. Did not
Christ, Chris.
see that movie at all.
It is.
so-
If you want to hear Johnny Depp yell at you for a long time, That's the only reason to go into
I don't.
Also, if you want to see him have like a spooky Frankenstein hairstyle.
that. Yeah.
I don't want
He's
that
the bride
either.
Okay.
of Frankenstein's razor.
Yes.
Okay. So when the safety razor was invented, it kind of had three goals. It was to reduce the level of skill needed for injury-free shaving. So apparently, like, people were like cutting their heads off when they were shaving before. It was to reduce the reliance on professional barbers.
Yeah, fuck
And
those
it
guys.
was to raise grooming standards. So, before people used to have like crazy beards and Martin Van Buren sideburns all over the place.
Yes.
So the safety razor was invented so that men could shave at home and not have a bunch of facial hair. So King Camp Gillette did not invent the safety razor, but he did invent one of the most popular models, which people still use today, and he popularized the use of disposable blades. So
We have him to thank for the hilarious upmarking in price.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Well, actually, yeah, sort of.
That guy can go right to hell, actually.
Straight razor's super expensive, though. I looked into that.
Yeah, they are very expensive. So in the 1890s, he was working as a salesman for a company called the Crown Cork and Seal Company, which is now known as Crown Holdings Incorporated. And it was a company that manufactures metal bottles and other containers for storing like food and beverages and things like that. And while he was working as a salesman, he would see that the bottle caps with the cork seal that he was selling, people would just like open the bottle and then just throw the cork right in the trash.
Right.
And he was like, oh, there's a lot of value in basing a business model around a product that you use a few times and then throw in the garbage.
Nice.
Okay.
So he noted that men were like shaving daily with straight razors and going to barbers and like spending a lot of money both like getting shaved but also maintaining their blades, because when you use a straight razor you have to sharpen it with a strop like every
time, right.
And those blades themselves were really expensive. So he decided to create a razor that could be manufactured and purchased cheaply, and then when it dulls, you just throw it away rather than spending time on maintenance.
That's
so,
the American way.
Yep.
it's the American
Throwaway
way.
culture.
Although this guy was probably British, right?
No, he's American.
Okay.
He lived in Palm Springs.
What?
But, yeah, dude, right up the street.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's several hours right up the street, but it's there. Side note, with all of his razor money, he created like this big ranch out in Palm Springs, and over
Razor
the course
Ranch.
of the, I think it's called the Gillette Ranch.
That
That
was
makes
but-
more
funny.
sense. Second guess.
But over the last 100 years or so, it's changed hands a lot. But since 2008, it's where they filmed every season of The Biggest Loser. So,
Nice.
That's a really
Yeah.
that's a really fun little fact there.
That's solid.
fun fact.
A little factorino.
All right. So safety razors had been invented in the mid-19th century, like right around the time that he was born, but they still used a forged blade. So safety razor existed, but you were still having to have like these blacksmiths like make a blade to
Oh
fit in
my
it
God,
and
that's-
all this stuff.
Seems
He
prohibitive.
improved on the design, like the earlier safety razor designs, but introduced the stamped razor blade steel blade. So it was like a cheaper metal. It was easier to produce. It could be mass produced in a factory. And his razor and blade sold for $5 in the 1890s.
That's very expensive.
Which is very expensive. It's approximately $140
Oh
in
my
today's money.
goodness.
So people considered that razor inexpensive because other razors were so expensive that his $5 one, people were like, what a deal.
Because
Yeah.
of trickle-down economics.
Right. So
Because you were saying that every other razor at that time that literally had to be forged like a tiny sword.
yeah, it was basically a knife that you had to
there
have.
was
a-
little baby
intensive
face
labor
swords.
involved. Yeah, little face swords.
Little baby face swords.
So in 1901, he founds the American Safety Razor Company, and then in 1902, he changes the name to Gillette Safety Razor Company. And he starts like filing these trademarks so that he can put his portrait and his signature on the packaging for his razors. And then he begins production in 1903, and he sold a total of 51 razors and 168 blades.
Nice.
And then he starts
I assume
ramping
that
up
was
production.
considered a success, considering what he went on to do.
Yeah. So in 1904, 1 year later, instead of selling 51 razors, he sells 90,000 razors. And then
Wow.
in 1908, 4 years later than that, he's selling 450,000 razors and 70 million blades.
Holy
So,
Talk about
and people
scaling.
were still buying all of these razors and blades at $5, which, is,
Astronomical.
half their weekly salary.
God damn.
It's crazy. So he is widely credited with inventing the razor and blades business model, and is attributed to the quote, "Give them the razor, sell them the blade." But we know that he didn't really do that, right? That's kind of a false attribution. So the razor and blades business model is also known as freebie marketing, where you give the razors away and then sell the blades for more.
Right.
Because people already have the razors, so they'll buy the blades.
Right.
But he didn't really do this business model until his competitors started doing it. And as we just discussed, his razor cost half a weekly salary, so it was really not, he wasn't really a pioneer in that business model. So, once his initial patents expired, Gillette's company did switch over to the freebie model. So now that's what I'm going to talk about for a little while.
Yay.
So the freebie marketing model is used in a lot of industries outside of razors, many times to the detriment of the consumer, sometimes not. For a few examples, video game consoles are often sold at cost or at a loss, and they make up company profits through the selling of games.
Yeah,
and
it's all through the
peripherals.
games at this point.
Right. So, consoles will often nowadays come with no games and a single controller and no method of data storage. So, you've got to go out and buy your memory card, buy your second controller, and stuff like that.
At hilarious markups.
Yeah. And I remember when I bought a 3DS XL, it didn't come with a charger.
Nope.
I had to buy the charger separate.
Whoa,
I was
really?
Yeah, you're supposed to just hold
I
it
think
and
the new
wish
models
into it.
don't. Sorry, what was that?
I said you just have to hold it and wish into it.
Please charge.
Yeah.
Fill that battery.
I gotta
up.
get that Pokemon.
Come on, baby.
Um,
Sun and moon.
So that's not that bad, right? Because it's sold at cost. I think the industry that is using freebie marketing the most to just totally screw the customer is printer manufacturing.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
baby.
God.
So
Yeah, the printer's $8, and each inkjet cartridge is $56.
$1,000.
$56,000.
Yeah. How can I make this
Right.
analogy more ridiculous?
They did some kind of study and said that printer ink is more expensive than gold or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did. I recently
it's a
purchased
joke.
a printer, and I ran the numbers, and I was like, "Oh, when this runs out of ink, I just buy another printer because it's the same price." My printer that
Yes.
came with ink
Right.
is the same price as buying one ink cartridge for this printer.
Right, because you
No.
usually get one in the package.
Yeah,
so
baby.
might as well throw the printer away.
No, that is definitely true. I was actually reading a lot about how printer companies definitely screw you, and the cost analysis is there that it is sometimes cheaper to just buy a new printer.
Gotta love it.
So printer manufacturers actually go through a lot of trouble to ensure that their printers are incompatible with low-cost aftermarket ink cartridges and refillable cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
So if they find out that somebody's manufacturing an ink cartridge that will fit in their printer, they will change their model.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that R&D.
Also,
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. That's diabolical.
it definitely is. So a lot of times printers are sold at cost of manufacturing and are compatible only with proprietary ink
You did
cartridges.
it. You got it.
I know, it was hard. I had to get it out. But so they'll make their own ink cartridges, and only those will fit. So that's how they make their money. And a lot of times, the ink cartridges that come with the printer that you buy are only partially filled. They're not.
Yeah, they're low
top.
fills. Yep.
Yeah, actually, the one that I just recently got, it wasn't even like a partially filled thing. It said, "This is not a cartridge. Remove it. It will not have any ink."
It's a JK, bro.
It's literally,
Right.
it's just literally a piece of plastic that fits inside the cartridge housing.
Just a form.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when they update their printers, they update the shape of their ink cartridges, so you can't use your old ink.
It's just,
Um,
oh my god!
also-
I'm so mad.
Some printer manufacturers vendor lock their machines, which basically means that their ink cartridges have a little chip in them. And if if the printer detects that you're using like a third-party ink cartridge, the printer will turn off, so you can't print.
Have you I don't know if you're going to get on this, but there was a similar scandal but actually like the people spoke out on it, and it was Keurig. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
No, I don't have anything about it. Tell me.
So they made Keurig had, obviously it's the K-cup system where you just pop the thing in, it pokes holes in a thing and runs water through it, makes you
Right.
coffee. They came out with the Keurig 2.0, and what that did was they actually added a little barcode on the edge of all Keurig brand K-cups, and you loaded them into the machine, and the machine had something that would scan for that barcode. All of a sudden, everyone was like, "Hey, homeboy, I have never bought your K-cups. I've been using third-party ones or like a silicone insert that I just fill with coffee. Why are you ruining my life?" And the company really heavily backed off it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry, that was big mistake." And so they kind of eliminated that from them.
Not only that, but Keurig has the most unbiodegradable canisters ever. These things will last for multiple thousands of years.
It's good to make
in
our floating
landfills.
trash heaps. But then a funny thing that I saw when that was all happening was that the best way to work around this was you literally just snip off the edge of a Keurig brand K-cup and you just tape that to the inside of your machine, and so it would always read that it was. So there was a very easy workaround, but it was still widely they were chastised for it.
Man, that is so.
The people are serious
God.
about their coffee,
It's
baby.
stupid. It's stupid is what
It's
the word
stupid.
you were looking for was
Yeah.
stupid and dumb.
Nah,
I
man,
didn't want
don't
to
make
talk
that
trash,
money.
No, talk that trash. This is what it's all about.
Further on the topic of screwing your own customers, in 2005, there was a legal court case called the Arizona Cartridge Manufacturers Association Incorporated versus Lexmark International Inc. And the U.S. Court Appeals of the Ninth Circuit ruled that Lexmark can sue its larger customers, like major companies and everything, for attempting to refill their proprietary ink cartridges rather than purchasing new ones. So that's pretty cool, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Lexmark can sue you if you try to refill your ink.
Yeah, great.
It's because those
And
syringes
then-
were used for drugs. That's why.
Okay.
A little bit of heroin, a little bit of ink.
Right.
That's why those track marks got so bad. That's weird. I don't know where I'm going with this one.
Because it's full of ink.
Yeah.
Right.
Ink and heroin.
Boy.
Right. But it's like the color ink,
Yeah,
so it's way
I
more
call that an
expensive.
ink
Hey,
ball.
okay. You guys want to move on?
No. All right. So my last thing on the freebie marketing here is there was actually another lawsuit that took place in 1999 and again in 2001 where Microsoft was accused of releasing Internet Explorer at no charge to destroy Netscape's market. This was the case United States versus Microsoft Corporation. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but internet browsers used to not be free, but you had to go to the store and buy the software
Yeah, you
on
had
a
to
disc and install it.
Yeah, from a disc.
So you'd have
Netscape
Netscape
Navigator, baby.
Opera, etc. So Netscape and tried to sue Microsoft because they gave away Internet Explorer with every copy of Windows that they sold. So
They sued them just because they provided an internet browser as part of the package?
Well, they were trying to claim that Microsoft was setting up a monopoly because Microsoft
That's very
controlled
funny.
the PC market.
Yep.
So everyone got a free copy of Internet Explorer, so they wouldn't go out and buy Netscape. They already had a browser, so why would they spend extra money? So Netscape was like, "You're pushing us out of the market. You're doing this." And in 1999, a judge actually agreed with Netscape and said that Microsoft was setting up a monopoly, and as part of his judgment said that Microsoft needed to split into multiple companies, like in a trust-busting exercise.
Yeah.
Right.
But Microsoft appealed, and in 2001 they were like, "Nah, it's fine."
That's
so
insane. I was going to say, there's no way they won that battle.
They did, but they
did
lost.
They sort of won it, and then they lost it in the end. Yeah.
So you have Internet Explorer to thank for your ability to freely surf the web. Who would have thought? You know, what's the first
bless
thing you do
you,
with
Internet
Internet
Explorer.
Explorer? Install Chrome.
Yeah, it is the gateway to the download page for Chrome. Right.
And that's all I have about King Camp Gillette and the Razor.
Yeah, King Camp Gillette
Razor
and
Blades.
his great achievement, Internet Explorer. Thank you, Jacob.
I'm disappointed that King Camp Gillette at no point marketed a product called King Gillette Face Scrapers. Really, like missing an opportunity. All right, Jakey, who's going next?
Can I hear the clues one more?
Every kiss begins with K.
And mine is the most badass name for a defense mechanism ever.
Well, Christopher has serenaded me, so
It was
let's
very
hear
beautiful.
about it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
acquiesce.
my article, I did a little research on the American rock and roll band Kiss.
Nice.
So Kiss, the American rock and roll band, formed in New York City in 1973 by Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley. As some of you probably know, Kiss, they have like these alter ego face paint characters. So I'm going to go through the list of kind of what they played in the band and what their character was. So Paul Stanley, the Star Child, was lead vocals and rhythm guitar. Gene Simmons, the Demon, did vocals and bass guitar. Ace Frehley, the Spaceman, or otherwise known as Space Ace, was lead guitar and vocals. Peter Criss, known as the Catman, which I still adore, was drums and vocals. But then there's some other members of the band who have kind of come and gone as time has passed. Eric Carr was the Fox, and he played the drums. Vinnie Vincent was the Ankh Warrior, and he played guitar. Mark St. John did not have a character because he actually was with the band exclusively in their unmasked era, where they did not wear face paint.
Oh.
He
That was
played
a
guitar.
bad era.
Yeah, Bruce.
The Forgotten Era
Yeah.
is what they call it, I think.
Bruce Kulick was also in that era, and he played guitar. Then there's Tommy Thayer, who currently actually plays
God.
with the lineup, and he is just a rip-off artist, apparently, because he's known as the Spaceman as well. And he plays
Wait a
guitar. Yeah.
How many total people have been in Kiss?
Total one. Looks like 10.
Jeez.
10 folks.
I didn't even realize.
And then there's Eric Singer, who was also known as the Catman, and he played
Please
the drums.
tell me he's a singer. Nope, he's a drummer.
They
okay.
do a little bit of, they do backup vocals. So Kiss, their history starts 1971. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, they're in this New York-based rock group called Wicked Lester. Simmons and Stanley, they want to go in a new direction away from what the group was doing, so they decided to abandon Wicked Lester together, and they form a new group in 1972. At the end of 1972, Simmons and Stanley, they see an ad in Rolling Stone. Used to have an East Coast and a West Coast edition, so they saw an ad in the East Coast Rolling Stone, and that ad was actually placed by Peter Criss, which, as my understanding, the ad just said, "Me drum good, want in?" I could not find the actual ad, but yeah. So they saw this ad that it was just apparently a man advertising himself. And
Hello, my name is Jared Drummer, and I'm really good at hitting the pigskin.
Oh, I hit the pads, the ones and twos.
I do it.
So Chris actually had played for the bands The Lips just Lips and Chelsea, and so he joined this new band. So the three of them, they decided they wanted to focus on kind of a harder style rock, and they experimented with their image by using makeup and fancy outfits, just trying to find their niche.
Spice it up.
Yeah, in November of '72, this three-man group, they played for an A&R director, Don Ellis, who after they played said he disliked the group's image and music, which I feel like it's just you dislike the group.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the two parts
right?
of a band: the image and the music.
I don't like 2/3 of your band. Can we maybe not do this arrangement?
And then I'm also not fond of the last third. So in
Not the best thing I've listened to.
In early 1973, the group, they added Ace Frehley to the lineup now. So now they have the quartet. He came in and auditioned for them, and he impressed them at the audition despite wearing one red and one orange sneaker, which I'm not 100% sure why that's even mentioned, but it was, so I threw it in here.
It's got to be relevant in some way.
That's generally grounds for immediate disqualification.
Yeah, you like you don't go into a job interview that way. People think you're a lunatic.
Well, so I recently watched a Tom Hanks movie called The Man with One Red Shoe.
Yes.
Terrible. Terrible movie.
The end?
So I think it's kind of the same premise. They're like, we saw that movie, it sucked, you're not in Kiss.
They're just free spirits, dude.
That's what it is. He didn't
they're
have time to
just
even
being
look
themselves.
at both of his shoes and see if they matched. So now the group is a four-piece. It was actually Stanley who came up with the name Kiss, while Gene Simmons and Peter Criss were driving around in the car with him.
While they were kissing.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to give a guess? I'll let you guess. That's Dana's guess. It's because they were kissing. Jake, you have a guess?
Okay, hold on. It's either they were kissing or Kiss was some sort of acronym for something they were doing.
Okay. Jake, you have any ideas?
I have no idea. I remember seeing that Detroit Rock City, it said it stood for Knights in Satan's Service.
Okay, so it's actually so much more benign than any of that. It's because Peter Criss had played in a band called The Lips, so Stanley jokingly turns around in the car and says, "What about Kiss?"
Yeah, what about Kiss? Because that's what you do with your lips.
Yeah, and that's what happened. It stuck.
Oh my god, that's so dumb. I
It's
wish
pretty
it were
bad.
cooler than that.
So Ace Frehley, he's actually the one who made the iconic Kiss logo with the S's being lightning bolts. But there's another version of the Kiss logo where the S's actually look like backwards block letter Z's. Do you guys have any idea why that was made?
Because it was the SS symbol for the Nazis.
That's 100% correct, actually.
What?
It was actually that symbol's banned in Germany. It's the same way where you're not allowed to have Nazis in video games in Germany, and when they release video games that had Nazis in Germany, they just release them with, I think usually it's like zombies or skeletons instead. Because it's like, yeah, well, we no need to kind of remind us of that.
Oh yeah, super shitty time in our history.
Yeah. So that's actually the reason, because it was banned. So they use this alternative logo whenever they're playing, or if they have any merchandise that's going to be sold in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Poland, Lithuania, Hungary, and Israel. They decided just to kind of blanketly do that to avoid controversy. Which
was a localization.
It's just, I think, a very intelligent business choice.
Sure.
So there's rumors of what KISS stands for, and you already said that the Knights in Satan's Service. Do you know any of the other rumors of what it possibly stands for?
Nah, sorry.
Kids Incorporated singing songs.
That's so close and so wrong. It's
That's cute though.
it was literally just Kids in Satan's Service.
Do you guys remember Kids Incorporated? Hit show
Yeah.
Kids Incorporated. From,
wasn't
was that
like,
Nickelodeon?
Wasn't what's that handsome devil's name? I think he was in it. Ryan Gosling.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Wasn't Ryan Gosling in Kids Incorporated? No, he was a Mickey Mouse Club.
He
I
was
don't
either
know.
a Mouseketeer or in Kids. I don't know. Kids
There's
Incorporated
somebody.
was definitely not as well known as the Mouseketeers.
Was it J.C. Chazet? Was he in Kids Incorporated?
He was a Mouseketeer too.
Was he as well? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm associating too much with it. So
Fergie
Knights in
was
Satan's
in
Service.
Kids Incorporated.
What's up?
Fergie was
Fergie?
in Kids Incorporated.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fergie.
No way.
And Mario Lopez. I think that's who you're thinking of.
That's probably who I'm thinking of when I'm talking about
handsome
Handsome
boy.
Devils. So Kiss, Knights in Satan's Service, not correct. Kids in Satan's Service, also not correct. Gene Simmons, who, by the way, his character name is The Demon, denies both of those claims.
All right.
So
Right.
by late '73, Kiss is on a roll, and they're going around, they're performing, they're touring a lot, but they're doing mostly localized shows, like in the New York area. And Gene Simmons keeps accidentally setting his hair on fire because
Yeah.
on stage they're doing all these like crazy antics, and one of the things Gene Simmons likes to do
Pyrotechnics.
is he does fireballs, like he blows fireballs out of his mouth. He likes to breathe fire.
Oh.
So he has,
Okay, fire
like
breathing,
a
yeah.
flammable liquid, and he blows it into a torch. But this is also, they're a big kind of before the wave of hair bands, but they had it.
Sure.
So he's got an obscene amount of product in his hair, and multiple times is lighting his head on fire during concerts.
Oh, no.
So 1974 rolls around. They put out their first album, which is self-titled. It's called Kiss. And despite touring and being like just a lot of publicity and people know who they are, that album only sold 75,000 copies, which in today's world is a lot of copies, but back then when people actually bought albums was not a lot.
Right.
So in order to make the band profitable, the band had to record a second album, like kind of right off of that, and that album was called Hotter Than Hell.
I heard it was called Smooch.
It was called Kissy Wissy. No, so they recorded their
called-
second album, Hotter Than Hell, and they were doing this while they're touring because they were just basically trying to make the band profitable. So they're touring, they record their second album, release that. The only single off of that album was a song called Let Me Go, Rock and Roll, and it failed to chart. With Hotter Than Hell being a flop, they decided, you know what, we're going to try a new sound that was a little less kind of distorted and dark and melancholy, and they decided to be a little bit more poppy. And that's when they released their third album, Dressed to Kill, which was released in March of 1975. It did a little bit better than Hotter Than Hell, and it also contained what is now the band's kind of like signature song, I Want to Rock and Roll All Night. So
Hell yeah.
that's off of that album.
Party every day.
I want
But-
to party every day.
But the it was still kind of it didn't perform much better than Hotter Than Hell. So they were like, okay, this is it. The label was almost bankrupt. They didn't know what to do, and like the albums aren't performing well, but the band was gaining a lot of reputation for their showmanship at their live shows, which included Gene Simmons spitting blood, which the blood was made out of egg whites, strawberry syrup, and red food coloring.
Oh, okay.
He was
It's acceptable
the
now.
aforementioned breathing fire, which he would just spit a flammable liquid onto a torch. Ace
What is
Frehley.
going on with Gene Simmons and expunging things from his mouth?
It's a thing. Ace Frehley would solo on his guitar, and the guitar would burst into flames. And there's actually a
Right.
picture of this happening on the Wikipedia. But what they did was they loaded smoke and light bombs into the guitar, and so at a particular point, all of a sudden it would just start smoking and flashing light.
Okay.
Peter Criss would have an elevating drum riser that would start floating and just start shooting sparks out. And then
This sounds a lot like your 4th of July festivities at your house where you,
almost
you load up a wheelchair with every single firecracker that you can find.
It's a good thing. And then
Hey, remember that year that we set the lemonade stand
Lemonade
on
stand on
fire,
fire.
and we couldn't get it to catch fire at all?
Then I
like
elbow
the fireworks
dropped
were so safe that it just wouldn't happen.
No, I think that thing was just made out of so much horrible plastic that it refused to ignite.
That was good. Good times.
And Peter Stanley would smash guitars throughout the show, and also there was pyro that was going on. But like, despite all these things, and like they're getting a good following, they just didn't have a commercial success yet. So the label's almost going bankrupt. The label goes bankrupt. The band kind of doesn't get to exist anymore. So they decided they were going to put all their chips in the middle of the table, and they had a breakthrough record that came from a double live album called Kiss Alive. And so that just kind of like people, because it was what they wanted. They knew about what Kiss was doing during their live shows. They wanted just that kind of energy and experience. So that was a massive success, and it began their like rise to stardom, which was between 75 and 78. And that was when Kiss was at their most influential. Between 76 and 78, Kiss earned $17.7 million from just record royalties and publishing alone. In 1977, there was a Gallup poll that named Kiss the most popular band in America. Kiss, they played 5 sold-out shows in... Well, let me get the name of this place because I'm going to pronounce it wrong. They played 5 sold-out shows in Tokyo. Where is it? I can't find it. It was
you were worried about pronouncing Tokyo wrong?
No, it was a stadium in Tokyo called the Budokan Hall or something like that, and that was actually a record that they broke because the number of sold-out shows previous to that was 4, and that was held by the Beatles.
Oh,
wow!
Yeah,
great job,
so
Kiss.
they ended up beating the Beatles for that. They also, during this period, there was Kiss merchandise was just like everywhere. Kids wanted it for Halloween. Kiss pinball machines, all the makeup kits, and all this thing. So Kiss merchandise had earned between 77 and 79 $100 million. So there just became this like super profitable thing, and so that brings us to 1978, where they kind of had this 2-pronged plan, which was part of their original contract was that they were all going to put out solo albums. So in 1 year, they wanted to release 4 solo albums from each member of Kiss. And
so they had that predetermined when they got together?
Yes, and there's some controversy over this because a lot of people say that was part of the contract, that they just had to do that. But then some of the members of Kiss say that, no, this was actually to try to keep the band happy because they were all wanted to do different things, but they were being so like pigeonholed into this.
They needed
this
an outlet to kind of work on their own things,
exactly,
to stay together. Right?
So with that, they kind of like all did their own things. They worked with whoever they wanted to work. Peter Criss's album featured like R&B style, like old R&B, not like modern like Usher R&B, but like old school like rhythm and blues style,
like a Boys to Men.
Not quite, more like a BB King,
like a Hootie and the Blow.
They went full Hootie, they went whole Darius Rucker, but so they did like some of that stuff. Simmons was kind of the most eclectic of the 4 because he actually did like some Beatles style like pop songs. He also did a cover of When You Wish Upon a Star from Disney's Pinocchio. It was kind of like all over the place. It was very strange, but the albums they all together didn't do as well as one of their group albums, so it was kind of a failure. But then the second part of the Kiss plan was for the band to appear in a film that would cement their image as larger-than-life rock and roll superheroes. So filming ended in 1978 for a project that was proposed to the band as a cross between A Hard Day's Night and Star Wars.
That's not a wide gamut there.
The final result fell far short of these expectations, and the script was rewritten numerous times. And the band, particularly Chris and Freebie, were kind of frustrated with the filmmaking process. But the final product was a movie that debuted on NBC that was entitled Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's that happened. Despite like people reviewing it poorly, it was one of the highest rated TV or highest viewed TV films of the year, and it was actually released theatrically. And you can actually get it on. There's a DVD compilation called Kissology Volume 2, which that's part of it. So that's basically all I want to talk about with Kiss, because now I'm going to talk about that movie. Not a ton about it, but I will read you this. This is the cast list and a little bit of a synopsis of what their powers were in the movie.
Oh God!
So Ace Frehley as himself.
Did you say powers?
Yes. Remember I said it was like Star Wars and superpowers? So Ace Frehley as himself, appearing as himself, was also known as Space Ace, and Frehley has the ability to shoot lasers and to teleport by making a hitchhiking gesture with his thumb. Gene Simmons as himself, also known as the Demon. Simmons has immense strength and can breathe fire. His voice has a large amount of reverberation, unlike the other three members. Which I don't know how that really plays into it.
Can you turn up the reverb?
Yeah. Gene's talking. We need to turn that reverb up.
Just turn the reverb right up.
Paul Stanley as himself, also known as the Star Child. Stanley can shoot a laser from the star on his right eye. A similar beam emitted from his eye can control minds and allow him to hear distant conversations.
Oh my God! Do we need to watch this movie together?
I for sure think so. And then, last but not least, but certainly the best and my favorite, Peter Criss as himself, also known as the Catman. His power. Chris has superhuman agility and leaping powers.
Okay, I really hope that they made a video game adaptation of this movie.
I am
because
not.
I want to play that.
I do not know if that's true. But
oh my God,
this is our new business venture. We drop Wiki Wiki What and we make this video game.
I'm in.
Oh my God!
Like I could see it playing like Captain America and the Avengers, like
Yeah.
that arcade game.
Oh
Captain America and the Avengers, the arcade game. I'm not familiar.
Yeah. All right, we'll play it next week.
Okay, well, that's actually all I'm going to say about Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, other than the fact that it was actually filmed at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Nice.
And so I clicked on that, and that brought me to Magic Mountain, and now I'm going to talk about Magic Mountain. So Magic Mountain was not part of the Six Flag chain of amusement parks and was just a... where is it? It's in Santa Clarita or something like that? Yeah, it's in Santa Clarita, California. It originally...
Did we pass it on the way to the wedding?
We sure did.
Jake?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
Yes.
It opened in 1971, and in that season, they obtained the permission from Warner Brothers to use the Looney Tunes characters. However, they didn't continue using those characters after their first year, and in 1972, they began using trolls as the park's mascots.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm actually going to send you guys a picture of these trolls so you can see it and react to this, because it's upsetting. This is some of the trolls. There was...
Oh my God!
And this is 1972, so they shouldn't have looked like that. But there are these like horrible little like gumdrop looking figures, and then this like vaguely racist wizard. But
These look like cereal mascots.
the park's
They
mascots
do.
were King Blop, also known as King Troll. There was also Bleep and Bloop, and Bloop is like a Robin Hood troll, and Bleep is a female hippie troll.
No,
And then there's
I'm
also-
not reading into any of the sub-story here. I'm not. I don't have
then
any
there's-
interest.
There's also the wizard, who's just a wizard. I just thought that those were just horrifying little creatures. As I'm reading through the article about Six Flags, it kind of kept going, and there was too much. They're just talking about rides and stuff, and I said, no, show me what I really want to see. And what I really want to see is different movies that were filmed there.
Okay.
I'm going to assume we've got some sort of list.
I do. I gotta find it. Give me a moment. Oh, here it is. Cinema and television. So Six Flags, or this was just Magic Mountain at the time, was in 1977. It was in a movie called Roller Coaster, fitting. In 1982, Magic Mountain was actually Wally World in National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh.
Magic Mountain doubled as the theme park from the opening credits of the television show Step by Step.
Okay.
It also
Oh,
appeared.
yeah.
It also appeared in NCIS, Entourage, The Bionic Woman, Chips, Wonder Woman, Way Out Games, Knight Rider, Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, The King of Queens, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, it's local enough, and it's a large amusement park that's kind of not necessarily branded as heavily as Disneyland is. So I think
It's
that
just
anything
a nondescript amusement park.
anything
right.
industry, entertainment industry that needs to be filmed at an amusement park, they just go there. There's also it was constantly on Nickelodeon's Wild and Crazy Kids.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I love that show.
It was what is the other
Wild
thing?
and Crazy?
In the movie This Is Spinal Tap, the band performs as second billing to a puppet show at the fictional Themeland amusement park in Stockton, California. That was actually played by Magic Mountain.
I'm sorry, did you say Themeland?
Yeah, it's a Christopher, or it wasn't a Christopher Guest, but it was a mockumentary.
Okay. Right.
And then the last thing is it was actually in the movie Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer, which I thought was the most adorable name for a movie I've ever heard. And so that's basically it, other than the last thing I'll leave you with is that Six Flags Magic Mountain, as much as I had hoped, and when I was just searching through this list of movies that were filmed there, it is not the theme park from Three Ninjas High Moon at Mega Mountain starring Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
That was actually filmed in Denver, Colorado at
You tried to bring it full circle,
Eldritch
but-
Gardens.
Yeah.
I was desperately
Bummer.
trying to. But yeah, so that's
a bummer.
that's Kiss.
All right.
There you go.
I liked it. Okay.
Sir.
I guess Dana.
Oh, is it me?
Dana, it's
Tell
your
us
turn.
about this apparatus.
Okay. So tonight I'm going to teach you guys about the kill switch. Did you guys like that?
Just
What?
fluff that in
that-
post.
No, I'm trying to do this new thing where I repeat the name of my article in like a Mortal Kombat announcer voice.
I like that.
Yeah, you're gonna need some more reverb on there.
Do you want me
like
to do
Gene
it again?
Simmons.
No, I know what
No.
you should do. Do it more like the toasty guy.
Do you guys want to do it?
Kill switch.
No.
All right. I'm gonna. Well, I was gonna warn you that I fell down the rabbit hole, but both of you also did. So
We sure did.
That's out the window. Okay, so kill switches were created as safety mechanisms to shut down a device or a piece of machinery in an emergency situation where it can't turn off in its usual manner.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, unlike normal on-off switches, kill switches are designed to basically completely and as quickly as possible abort the operation, even if it damages the equipment, and be able to be done quickly and simply. And this is mainly so that it can be used by the machine operator if they're like in a panic state, or if some bystander is like, maybe I should do something here. They're designed to be super obvious so that anyone can understand the meaning or operate them if need be.
Like a giant red button.
With knives
Exactly
on it.
that. Actually, that is the number one image I think that is evoked when you think of a kill switch. Many kill switches actually feature a removable barrier or other kind of protection to prevent them from being accidentally triggered. You've probably seen in movies or cartoons the image of the big red button under some sort of like plastic shell that's like on a hinge. That's actually called a molly guard.
Molly guard.
Would you guys like to take a crack at how that got its name?
The guy who invented it had a daughter named Molly.
No,
and he
I
didn't
think
want her to
it's
push the button.
I think it's because it's to protect people from pushing the button on accident when they're rolling deep on Molly.
It's a very interesting guess there. Jake is actually closer. It actually got its name from an incident in which an IBM mainframe programmer's daughter tripped the mainframe's kill switch several times during one day.
Oh, come on, Molly!
Cool. Great job, Molly. Anyway, so any modern day guard that you see that's either covering a power or a reset button is called a Molly guard. So
I really hope I remember that, because that's a really mundane, interesting thing.
very mundane.
It's like the plastic tips on shoelaces.
Yeah.
I never remember what
are
they're
those called?
called. I don't know, but I know that I've heard it multiple times and been like, oh, that's pretty good to know.
And then you forget it the next day.
Damplers.
So, as you might
Aglet.
expect, kill switches are very, very prevalent on mechanisms whose normal operation or foreseeable misuse could hurt or kill someone. Designers that include kill switches consider damage or destruction to the mechanism to be, and this is the actual quote, an acceptable cost of preventing injury or death. So,
Yeah.
something to think about.
Acceptable.
I guess the takeaway is if you don't see a kill switch or emergency shut off on a product that could like pretty clearly hurt a person, maybe don't give that company your business.
Okay.
It's more expensive than a human life. Fine.
The kill switch has a cousin called the dead man switch, which is intended to stop a machine, or in some cases activate a machine if the human operator becomes incapacitated. So essentially, it reduces the chances of whatever they were operating to go on a rampage. Again, no-brainer. They're really common in industrial machinery like locomotives, tower cranes, freight elevators, and in a lot of consumer machines like lawnmowers, tractors, jet skis, outboard motors, snow blowers, motorcycles, a whole bunch of dangerous shit, right?
But not a car.
But
it's like...
Well, actually, there are kill switches in cars, but not necessarily dead man switches. So in the dead man switch, in these cases, it's usually perpetually held by the operator, and during the usage of the machine, and if the switch is disengaged, the machine shuts down.
It's like the thing you clip on yourself when you're on the treadmill at the gym, so that
Right.
if you fall off, it turns it off.
Exactly that.
Because they know your dumbass is going to try to get on it while it's running again. or it's like what's this called in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, when that guy has the trigger for that C4 to blow up the that building, and he's dying, and he's like and then he drops it and it clicks on his knee because he died.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly
Boom.
that.
Dead man switch.
So
Nailed
actually, good funny story. When I was just a lad, I didn't realize at the time, but I had to engage a dead man switch on my dad's old lawnmower, and I always found it to be like super annoying because the placement of the switch was clearly intended for like an adult-sized hand, and I had to really stretch my fingers to get it. And I was like, oh, this is the worst. Little did I know, totally protecting my life.
Yeah. Keeping you from murders.
So, got a few examples of kill switches on things. On railways, you basically got an emergency stop switch that puts an immediate slam on the brakes in order to bring the train to a stop as quickly as possible. Right? Mm-hmm. We've actually seen these used egregiously in like action movies on things like trains and subways, especially when like some main character is in perilous danger on the tracks. The train is just flying on the tracks, and then sparks everywhere. That's a kill switch. On some trains, the kill switch is it can actually be engaged once the train has passed these certain signals on the track. And the signals emit this thing to the driver that say, "Hey, bro, you awake?" and the driver has to say, like, press a button that says, "Yes, I'm awake." Otherwise, the train will shut down. So I thought that was
kind of neat,
kind of interesting.
That's so they don't just like rip through towns at like 80 miles.
I would be
right.
I would be so bad as a train driver because I would ignore those.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I got to play more Clash Rush or whatever that stupid game is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you say Clash Rush?
Clash Rush. I don't know. There's like
Clash
8 of those
Rush.
Clash Royale.
Clash Rush
That's the
Saga
one.
Royale.
Clash of my clan candies.
Yep. NASCAR stock cars. They're required to have a steer wheel mounted kill switch in the event that the accelerator pedal sticks and the driver needs to shut down the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut that down.
So you guys mentioned earlier in regular cars, some cars actually have a kill switch that's installed as an anti-theft device.
Yeah.
So the car will just shut down if it's being stolen. But they're also put in what are called bait cars, which are placed by police and basically
Darren.
so they're basically there, and the robber or whatever will jump in the car and try and hotwire the car, and then the police will activate a remote switch and lock them in the car, and there you go.
Isn't that an entrapment?
There's some sort of I don't know.
How much information do you have about entrapment?
I
How many,
zero.
How many lists?
I didn't go into entrapment at all.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. She dips beneath lasers. Whoa.
And she looks so fine. As completely expected, 100% of monster trucks are required to have kill switches in case the monster truck loses control and could pose danger to innocent audience members.
But to be fair,
Oh,
aren't monster trucks always basically just on like riding that razor's edge of being fun
Yeah.
or murdering everyone in the building?
Right. There's so much that can go wrong.
There's a monster truck called Truckosaurus, and it is a dinosaur truck that eats other trucks.
Yep.
What is
All right,
going
let's
on
talk
in
about
that?
monster trucks.
So, as you might expect, the kill switches on monster trucks are thoroughly tested before every race or rally. It said thoroughly, yeah. So in nuclear reactors or data centers, the kill switch is also known as a scram switch. And this sort of immediately within me invoked an image of someone pressing the button and like getting the hell out of Dodge.
But they like do the kind of thing where like they run and their feet like turn in circles for a few seconds.
Yeah, they jump up
before
in
they
the
go.
air and then they leave behind like
Puff of smoke or
a puff of
outline.
smoke that's
Yeah.
shaped like them. Right. No, so I thought that's why it was called a scram switch, like scram, we're getting out of here. But it actually looks like it might be an acronym if this page is believed. The two schools of thought are that it stands for Safety Control Rods Activation Mechanism or Safety Control Rods Actuator Mechanism.
Oh.
Though it's also believed that these just as easily could be what are called backronyms. And as you might
Yes.
expect, I threw the kill switch on my research real quick because backronyms sounded adorable and it was a link and I clicked it.
Nice.
Love it.
So yeah, I decided to crack that nut open, take a dip. So a backronym is a specially constructed phrase that is supposed to be the source of a word that is or is claimed to be an acronym. Mm-hmm. Some examples of real-world backronyms include the Amber Alert system. Amber was actually chosen... so the backronym is, it was chosen to represent the phrase, America's Missing, broadcast emergency response. But this is not actually the official thing for it. It was actually named for Amber Hagerman, which was unfortunately a 9-year-old that got abducted in Texas in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
But they applied a backronym to that. The USA Patriot Act by George W. Bush was a backronym for uniting and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism.
For sure, get out of here.
No, that is for real.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, they needed a very patriotic name
Yeah.
to sell it.
Yep.
So
As far as I remember, it barely passed.
no, it's super passed.
No,
We
no,
had, like,
it's super
2 people
passed. You're
didn't
right.
vote
Oh, yeah.
for it.
We were spooked, man.
Yeah. Alcoholics Anonymous and other 12-step programs actually use backronyms as teaching tools. So, for example, a slip is expanded to sobriety losing its priority, or denial as don't even notice I am lying. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
But you're like allowed to just deny something if it's not true as well, though.
No, you're not.
I guess that's not denial.
My favorite part of this page were many other backronyms are either jokes, slogans, or develop as sort of a folk etymology. You guys may remember this one. NASA actually named the treadmill used on the International Space Station the Colbert, which stands for Combined Operational Load-Bearing External Resistance Treadmill. So that was fun. Stephen Colbert had some fun with NASA on that one. So apparently Arby's made their name a backronym in the 1980s, which stood for America's Roast Beef. Yes, sir. And I
adore that. Can we talk for a moment about how Arby's is just like killing it right now on their ads?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me more.
Like they're all the voiceover from that one dude, and it's just like they're so silly and they're very like esoteric and like jovial, and they're hitting all the right notes. But the first one I remember, and I think this was actually the first one that started it, was Arby's had apparently a deal with, I think it was Pepsi, where they had to show and mention Pepsi products X amount of times in their advertisements in a year, and they just for sure forgot about it. So they just admitted that in a commercial, and they were like, yes, Arby's, we had a deal with Pepsi. We forgot. So here, Pepsi, we're sorry. And then it was just like a bunch of like glamour shots of like glistening Pepsi cups.
Yeah, I feel
that's pretty cool.
I feel like we've kind of gotten back to sort of a golden age of commercials. Most notably, I feel like Skittles did a really good job with the weird ass commercials they were running in like the mid 2000s,
and like
then,
Flo,
and then Old Spice really came back in like a hard way. Like we're getting back to just like entertaining commercials, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. You got Isaac Mustafa, you got Terry Crews and Bruce Campbell. Ooh, Old Spice.
Got a few more things here for you. Spam was given the backronym something posing as meat after soldiers started getting sick of eating Spam. Apparently, the company name of Adidas was created as a mashup of its owner's name, which is Adolf Adi Dassler. But was falsely believed to be an acronym for All Day I Dream About Sports.
Now, I believe there is a hip-hop song with a similar title to that. All Day I Dream About Sex? Is that right?
You better believe
Am I wrong?
Well,
You're correct.
Okay. Let's... And actually, finally, I found this one pretty fun and pertinent to our show's subject matter. Wiki was said to stand for what I know is, but is in fact derived from the Hawaiian phrase Wiki Wiki, meaning fast. So
we're like most of the way there.
Oh.
I guess we need to make our podcast faster?
Yeah,
what?
we need to shorten this up, make it a 20-minute show.
Right. So I got to the end of the backronym page, and I returned to the kill switch and sort of expanded a section about how kill switches are used in elevators and escalators. Hint, hint, they're big red buttons. Okay, whatever. We're pretty familiar with why and how kill switches are made, and they exist, and I kind of wanted to share with you a few things from a page that was linked called Myths About Escalators and Elevators, because that sounded
love it.
way more entertaining than reading about kill switches.
100%.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
First,
put
myth.
it in me.
Many people believe elevators are only held up by one rope that can break, leaving passengers in a free-falling car. Truth. Elevators are supported by multiple steel cables, each of which can actually support the entire weight of the car on its own. The only elevator that fall due to the cable system failure occurred in the 1940s when an airplane straight up crashed into the Empire State Building and severed all the cables on a particular shaft.
Oh no!
Yeah, so you're pretty safe in an elevator if one of the things snaps. Myth: some people believe an overcrowded elevator will fall. Truth: an overloaded car will normally just sit there and probably sound a buzzer telling people to get the hell off.
America.
Right. Myth: some people claim that they've been in an elevator car that fell several floors before catching itself. Truth, this feeling is somewhat of a mystery, but most, quote, elevator experts
Okay.
believe
I have a new
that
dream.
people may think this is happening as a result of the following. They boarded an elevator that was traveling in the opposite direction that they thought it was traveling. I don't know how you get to that frame of mind, but sure. Or they saw the elevator floor indicator lights flash by quickly, which gave the visual impression of falling. Sure.
People be dumb.
Super dumb, dude. Last myth on elevators. Myth. Some people believe that if an elevator is stuck between floors, that they are in danger of falling and should try to get out immediately. Truth. Attempting to leave the car on your own could result in serious injury. Elevator cars are designed to be safe rooms, and the safest place is indeed inside the car.
So you don't want to try to like climb out the top and like shimmy up the cables
Nope.
or
Always.
Are you sure?
Nope.
I've seen a lot of action movies where that's exactly the answer.
Nope. Don't
Right.
want to do
What
that.
you do is you climb out the top, you grab the cable, and then you fire your gun into the top of the elevator, and you break the cables,
Yeah.
and then it
And then
goes
it
down,
pulls
and it,
you
like
up.
it's a counterweight, and it pulls
Right.
you to the
It's-
top.
yeah.
Yep. Nope, don't do that. Just stay. Just hit the buzzer and say, hey, we're stuck. I got a few myths on escalators. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So
Yeah.
myth,
Terrified.
the biggest myth is that you don't have to pay much attention to them.
What?
Truth.
Why are you?
Truth. And this kind of gets kind of dark and preachy, but an escalator is a 6-ton moving machine and should be treated as such. They require the same level of respect as a moving automobile.
Oh, no.
No, I don't think so.
Well, agree to disagree.
Okay.
Myth. A common myth is that the steps could flatten out and cause people to slide down. Truth. Each step is a full triangular structure consisting of a tread and a riser supporting on a track. They cannot flatten out at all, ever.
Okay.
I liked this one. Myth. Escalators can reach out and grab you. Who the hell thinks this is happening?
I don't know. It grab your shoelace.
So the truth section says no part of an escalator can do this. However, people must be careful of loose clothing, untied shoelaces, high heels, long hair, jewelry, and any other item that might get caught in an escalator. Myth. One that we're probably all guilty of. If an escalator is standing still, it's just a set of stairs. But truth. Escalator steps are not the correct height for normal walking and should not be used like that. The risk of falling or tripping is actually increased when they're used by as normal stairs. So,
So you're saying Mitch Hedberg was wrong.
what did Mitch Hedberg say?
Well, see, he's
That's
got
just a
this
classic
quote. He
joke.
says, an escalator can never break. It can only become stairs. You should never see an escalator
With an-
temporarily
yeah.
out of order sign. Just escalator temporarily stairs. Sorry for the convenience.
No. So, have you guys never gone down a stairwell and you get to the end and you think there's one more step and you just slam your foot down and break your heel? You've never done that?
Yeah, I do that every time.
Every
Yeah,
day?
we went to that
Yeah.
horrible house.
Right? So that's the warning here. And finally, an adorable one to end on. I really loved this. Myth. Children often believe that the steps fall into the basement and have to be restacked each day.
Oh, children are dumb. Y'all, children
So-
be dumb.
So super cute, but the truth is escalator steps move on an endless chain system. On a down traveling escalator, the steps rotate under at the bottom and move up the underside to reappear at the top. And that's all I got on kill switches.
Kill switch.
That's good.
Kill switch engage. That's a band.
It is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Also, that all day I dream about sex. That's a Korn song.
Oh, wait, who?
The band Korn.
Oh, you should have done them. It was K.
Yeah, Dana, why didn't you do Korn? the band Korn.
All right, Chris, you want to tell us how everybody can... I think we're at the end here. You want to tell us how everybody can find us?
I don't want to, but I'll try. Just want to thank everyone for listening. You've done a great job of listening. It's so much harder doing the talking part, but you've done an okay job too. We'd like to, if you want to engage us on social media, you can like us on Facebook. You can follow and retweet us on Twitter at _Wiki Wiki What. You can visit our website at www.wikiwikiwhatpodcast.com and send us feedback or suggestions at wikiwikiwhatpodcast@gmail.com. But yeah, liking us and commenting on iTunes or wherever you're getting podcasts, that's going to be the most helpful to us. But thank you all for listening to this nonsense.
Yes, subscriptions and ratings on iTunes, probably one of the best ways to climb the charts.
Climb them charts.
Also, check us out on YouTube. I started making little videos.
Oh, yeah. Jake started kind of pulling out clips of some of the funnier moments.
Breaking out the funny using Windows Movie Maker.
That I've heard it's very hard to use.
Well, you know.
It's not. I've seen children post videos nonstop.
Okay. Jake, what are we doing next week?
We're going to do the letter L next week. Well, we're going to record next week. It's going to come out in 2 weeks. Don't, you know.
So we'll see you in a million years, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an endless...
Okay, well, I just want to thank everybody one more time. You guys have been great. We actually have seen a whole lot of growth in this last week here. Totally exploded. We're very, very grateful for that. And hey, it's 3 a.m. Stop reading Wikipedia and go to bed.